G'day cocktail lovers, I hope you've been keeping well. I have a bit of an experiment for you tonight. Well, it's night my time. I won't dictate what time of day you're allowed to watch the video, but it's night time as I make this, so it seems natural for me to say I'm doing it tonight. Anyway, experiment, stop with the waffle. Modern bartending, and this has been part of the cocktail revolution of the last 20 years, is the move to using fresh ingredients, particularly juices, rather than pre-bottled or canned syrups, which were very common in the 80s and 90s in particular. But now fresh is best. It makes sense, right? It seems to make sense that fresh juices in your cocktail are going to have more flavour and be more refreshing than a bottled juice. So if you can get fresh, do fresh. Now, the interesting thing, two of the most common juices you'll use making cocktails are lemon and lime. And in different parts of the world, the seasonal availability of lemon and lime can have a radical effect on the price. In season, they can be dirt cheap. Out of season, as we have been seeing recently in Australia, an individual lime can cost $2 or more. You're getting to the stage where the lime juice component of a cocktail can be as expensive as the booze component of a cocktail. When a single lime is $2 or $3, that's kind of ridiculous. And also, it's not always convenient to have the fresh citrus on hand. So there is, shock horror, the bottled juices from the stores. Now, I'm going to do an experiment. I've never actually done a side-by-side experiment. I've seen other people do them, like on the Educated Barfly, and I thought that was really quite inconclusive. So I want to see if I sense a very clear, definite, and appreciable difference between freshly squeezed lime juice and store-bought lime juice. I decided to go with lime rather than lemon, although you could do the same test with lemon, obviously. And I want to do a big shout out to the fine folks at Steve the Bartender's Cocktail Crew on Facebook, who were very forthcoming with suggestions, including the man himself chiming in, because I said, look, I want to do this test with lime juice. What do you think is the best cocktail? It needs to be a relatively simple cocktail where lime is a central feature, because I didn't want to hide the lime juice. I didn't want something with a lot of ingredients that would mask the lime juice. And I'm going to make a daiquiri. The two biggest suggestions were a daiquiri, obviously simple, light rum, lime juice, sugar syrup, very straightforward, and a gin gimlet, gin, lime juice, sugar syrup, very simple. Other honourable mentions, there's a margarita, which is not much more complex, but has an orange curacao or Cointreau in it as well, so that's a little more complex. And a pisco sour I was very tempted to do, because I really enjoy a pisco sour, and that's just the pisco and lime juice and sugar syrup and a foaming agent, often an egg white. But daiquiri it is, and that's what's going to happen tonight. And I'm using a white rum. Again, this is it's not without flavour. It's not like I'm doing it with vodka, but it's less sort of in your face than some of the darker, mature rums with the funky things. Smells quite nice though. The Chairman's Reserve. This is from St. Lucia, so it's a Caribbean rum, and it's 43% alcohol, so it's not a timid rum. But we're going with this. Now what I've done, I've already made one and got one ready to shake with the bottled lime juice. This, and again, to not cheat, I used really basic lime juice, not an expensive, fancy lime juice. This is just the supermarket brand bottled lime juice. They say it's 99.9% reconstituted lime juice, but it also has an acidity regulator, ascorbic acid. It does have a natural flavour apparently, and preservative. So it's not pure. So I've got that one ready to shake, and now I'm going to make one and freshly squeeze some lime juice into it, and then do a side-by-side taste, and we'll see how different they are. First, if I can tell the difference, and then second, if I think it's a big difference. So that's, again, pretty straightforward recipe for the daiquiri, starting with 2 ounces of your rum. For the lime juice, we're going to freshly squeeze it, and we're going to make sure we have 1 ounce of lime juice. The final touch is 3/4 of an ounce of sugar syrup. It's a homemade sugar syrup. The recipe I was following recommended a Demerara sugar syrup. That's an unrefined sugar. This isn't Demerara sugar, it's an actual unrefined coconut sugar. It's got both Demerara sugar and this have a richer taste than a white sugar syrup. It doesn't taste like coconut, in case you're wondering. It tastes like just an unrefined sugar. It's very similar to Demerara, but we're going in with 3/4 of an ounce of the sugar syrup. We add our ice to the shaker. Give that a good solid shake for about 10 seconds. Now I'm straining that into a chilled coupe. This glass is actually made for a cocktail with more volume. Probably should have used another glass, but that's okay. It's all about the comparison. Now, with a bit of help, I'm going to put a blindfold on and I'm going to blind taste test and see if I can tell. The blindfold is on and my assistant is now going to hand me one of the drinks and we'll see if I can tell. So I'm actually going to do a little sniff. That's not really telling me anything. Well, it's a daiquiri, and daiquiris are good. And now for the other beverage. Smelling again. Okay. Okay, can I have the other one as well? Okay, double fisting. I can't tell. Is this the fresh one?
Yes.
Okay, it is more tart. There is a tiny bit more brightness to the tartness. Sorry, can I hand these back to you? Because I can't take off my blindfold! So I did guess. But I'm gonna go on the record. That is not a huge difference. If you're in the situation where you can't get fresh citrus, and you need to just buy bottled stuff, don't let anyone shame you. And look, if you don't believe me, absolutely, do the same test yourself at home. And yes, I did guess it because there was just the follow through on the fresh one. It was more tart. Initially, I couldn't tell them apart. You saw how many sips I had. It wasn't instantly like, bleh, that's awful. Oh, that's great. It absolutely was not that level of difference. It's just with the fresh one, there's more lime flavor, but there is a little tartness continues beyond the bottled one. So there's a difference. For me, and again, I'll go purely for me, I will never feel bad, having done that comparison side by side, I will never feel bad about using bottled lime juice as opposed to lime. I'll still defer to the fresh whenever I can, but in the times when it's not practical or possibly not economically viable, I will absolutely go for bottled. There's a difference, but if it's a question of cost or difficulty, I honestly don't think it's worth beating yourself up over, because I honestly don't think the difference is that huge. That's my verdict anyway. I'd love to hear yours if you've done a side-by-side as well. Remember, you have to do it blind testing, because if you know, you're going to presuppose it. And even with a blind test, it's only 50-50. But I was pretty confident with the pick. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, it'd be great if you did, and click the notification bell so you know when I upload videos. And yeah, definitely love hearing from you. This is one, how sold are you on the fresh versus bottled? Have you done the test? Is it just a gut feeling? And do you think I just have no palate for not being able to tell the difference very much? Ah well, such is life. I've got 2 daiquiris to knock off now, which makes my life very sad and difficult, but I'll struggle on somehow, and I will see you again soon. Cheers.